happening? What's happening? It happened.
Come on, then. What? How about you?
When does this happen in the movie?
Now. You're looking at now, sir. Everything that happens now is happening now.
What happened to then?
We passed then.
When?
Just now. We're at now.
Go back to then.
When?
Now.
Now?
Now.
I can't.
Why?
We missed it.
When?
Just now.
Take it off, dickhead. I'm serious.
Richard, what's happening?
I am a god, you dull creature, and I will not be bullied by that.
Your tiny Jesus, your golden fleece diapers with.
And we're live, or sort of live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the 27th edition of The Countdown. I'm your host, JPO, Jordan Pearson. I'm joined by a fellow friend and colleague, admirer, a man I admire, a man I hope one day to be like today. Sorry, that's a different guest. Today it's Aaron. How you doing?
Yeah. I was going to say you had me confused with next week's guest, Jay Leno. But good to see you today.
You hear about this in the news?
we're matching as always because that's what we do. Light
blue is a great color. It's even
we got the blue. We got the blue outline exterior.
The stream, which was not done on purpose.
Maybe one of my movie titles has the word blue in the title, which might be a hint. You might not have it on your list.
That lesbian film Blue is the Warmest Color that came out weird years later. I'm
gonna have to redo my list then. It's okay. It was my number one anyway, so I have plenty of time to get to the rest of my list. But yeah, I love the 70s. Volume 4, I believe, is what they're on with the VH1 countdown here. So, yeah.
Is that a thing? All right, cool. Yeah.
You remember I Love the 70s? You don't remember I Love the 70s, I Love the 80s?
Yeah, sure.
They did you don't remember those shows where they would talk
I said yes.
Yeah, so they did I Love the 70s, and they called the second one Volume 2. And then because they redid them all, they did I Love the 90s Part 2, I Love the 80s Strikes Back. I know too much about VH1 countdown shows. There's not enough to do a rank of them.
Oh, I don't know. We should do a rank
VH1 countdown shows.
Yeah, countdown of the countdown shows. That sounds pretty good.
I would sign up for that.
Maybe favorite.
But 70s works tonight.
All right, 70s. Yeah, so why 70s? Talk to me a little bit about 70s because usually I ask my guests what their kind of preference is, and you went right to 70s.
Yeah, I think it's the best decade for my taste in movies, which is to go very outside the realm of normal. I feel like there was much more experimental movies going on in the 70s. I felt like it was before the business of the movie business that is today that we're seeing all the time. That's kind of ruining some movies and making the artistic movies harder to see in a wide range. In the 70s, it wasn't, will this make money? It was just is it a good idea? All right. And a lot of the good ideas probably shouldn't have been made. And those are some of my favorite movies. So, I have a range on this list, and that's another reason I love it. I have some that will appear on a Sight and Sound list, and some that you probably never even heard of, and that's fine. This movie might be on the list. If you don't know what that movie is, then, that's not a hint.
It's some sort of Man Made of Wicker?
Yeah, it's a Nicolas Cage adaptation before Nicolas Cage had it. Yeah, so I'm excited. I had probably 100 different movies I could have talked about tonight. I don't think that there's a right answer. And then I'm looking forward to hearing what your list is as well, because I know that the 70s is
totally out of the box.
Yeah, 70s isn't much your jam, but the good ones from the 70s are classics for a reason too. So.
Absolutely. Do you have any honorable mentions before getting to your 10? Can you give me 5 honorable mentions?
Yeah. So I honestly, I could go all over the place. It was honest. Let me just pull up. I'm just going to pull up a few that I wanted to talk about. Of course, they're not ready right here. Here we go. Sorry about that. But yeah. Couple that I want to talk about that are besides the obvious, but of the obvious that I'm not talking about today. Clockwork Orange is one of my biggest honorable mentions. Serpico, I love that with Al Pacino. I think it's super underappreciated. Jean Delman, 23, 23 Quai du Commerce, 1080 Brussels, number 1 on the Sight and Sound list. Watch that this year. 3.5
Making
hour
stuff up
movie.
now. You're just making
Three
stuff
and a
up.
half hour movie, where about a housewife, but it was fantastic. Network, I love Network so much. The ending monologue, still one of the best ever. And then really bizarre filmmaker that I didn't get to have make my list, Luis Buñuel out of Spain. He's a Spain surrealist. The Discreet Charm of the Bourgeoisie. It's all about this really rich group of people trying to have a nice dinner, and all these things keep going wrong, and it's like a slapdash comedy. It's really funny. All really great
I
movies.
love it. I love it. I'm looking forward to this list now. What do you got at number 10?
Number 10, I did want to stick with, one of my more esteemed picks on the list, to be honest with you. Andrei Tarkovsky, Russian director. This came out in 1979. It's called Stalker. And this movie is, I guess if you've seen Annihilation, it reminds me a lot of Annihilation. It's about this guy known as a stalker who leads people through this super radioactive zone into this room where this box grants wishes. But Tarkovsky, the way he makes it's almost a 3-hour movie. You can see it's very widely acclaimed as well, and it just slowly kind of comforts you yet unsettles you at the same time. The world is very, very built in. It's extremely influential as well. Another thing I love about 70s movies. Some will say it's slow, but another thing about a lot of 70s movies is it just requires a little bit of attention, and then you won't even notice you're watching the movie, and it's almost a 3-hour movie. And it's just, you see the worlds that it's in, the colors that are used. It's really great performances as well by a bunch of actors that you're not going to recognize because it's a Russian movie. So Stalker, it's known throughout, and Tarkovsky, he's one of the best. I don't understand a lot of his work. You might have to watch it a couple times, but it's worth it. And it's a great movie. Looks like it was made today. This was made in 1979, and it just looks better than any movie made today. And like that yellow hue is always in the zone world. So it kind of reminds me of the shimmer world from Annihilation, which I'm sure this was a influence for, but great movie.
I know, I was gonna say like you kind of said, the trailer looks fantastic as far as just visually. So yeah, I dig it.
Yeah, and it's just and it is like, I'll admit it's not an easy movie to enter into, but like again, whoa, that's very
Nope. Sorry.
It's okay. No, it's not an easy movie by any stretch. You could call it pretentious. I don't really look at pretentious as a bad thing, especially with a filmmaker. Like Tarkovsky poured everything into this, and I think it's his best, and he's one of the best. So I wanted to put on the list, even though for me most of the other movies on the list I enjoyed more. I wanted to mention this one because it is on the critics list for a reason. So it's a good one.
Nice, very nice. Already off to, I think, a good start here on the list. And now I'm going to get obscure. Bet you've never heard of the Stepford Wives.
I actually watched this recently.
I saw you're one of 2 people I think actually have it reviewed on the Letterboxd. But yeah, that does come in at my number 10 here, which of course this did get a remake many years later with Nicole Kidman here, but I think this is the one that people should kind of start out to see here. Really just kind of nice, imagination of what how guys would love to be controlling in a nice little slow. And again, kind of like as you mentioned with the last movie, a little bit of a slow burn, kind of figuring out why all the personalities are leaving here, and I think it's got some really nice commentary beneath it here, quite funny in moments as well. And I think I like what they kind of tried doing with the remake, but then they kind of brushed it up a little bit too much. But I think the original kind of still holds up to this day. So that's what I got for my number 10, Stepford Wives.
Yeah, no, I think this is a movie that, because what the twist is, it does get in the way of the movie. It was hard.
I didn't know. I saw it pretty young, actually. Funny enough.
That's really good, because I saw it recently, and I think I gave it like 3 stars on Letterboxd.
Yeah, I think you're at 3. Yeah.
Which is, for me, is pretty like that. That's like, it was okay. I definitely do like that. It really, again, builds the world that these characters are in, and all the performances are great. It again influenced so much moving forward too. It's like hard to not give this movie enough credit, because it's Don't Worry Darling just took this movie and made it
Yeah.
a little bit more interesting. If I'm being honest, I think Don't Worry Darling got way too much hate because it's just Stepford Wives, but like made a little weirder. Like it really is. And I mean, you can still like refer to like weird.
Stepford walked, so Don't Worry Darling could run. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Well, yeah, and I'm going to use that term for my next movie too in a minute too. But yeah, I like this movie a lot. Is Shelley Duvall in this one or no? The woman who looks like Shelley Duvall. It's not Shelley Duvall. Her best friend. I really liked her best friend in this movie. I forgot who played
Mary
her.
Stuart Masterson's in it.
Yeah, that's right. She looked like Shelley Duvall. No, yeah, and yeah, no, I think this is a great pick. I like that you're starting with slow burn. I'm a big fan of the slow burn.
Well, let's get to your number 9. Get it? I did it slowly.
Oh, so Bernie. My number 9, one that in my review, funny enough, I said it walked so Hereditary could run. This is like one of the original like grief dread horror movies that I can remember seeing, and I've rewatched it a couple times now, and it just gets better and better. I believe it's set in Venice. It's Nicholas Roeg's Don't Look Now, starring Donald Sutherland, Julie Christie. They lose their daughter at the beginning of the movie, and it's kind of about them trying to deal with the loss of a child and how it just haunts them, and it drives the main characters to hate each other and just do some crazy things to try to reconnect with their daughter. And it's just extremely well done. Nicholas Roeg is a fascinating director as well. The colors, the red in this movie is just really sticks out throughout, both in the clothing. The daughter drowns in her red jacket, and there's some weird psychic shit going on in the movie. Julie Christie's great in not a typical role for her too. And it just is the 70s horror, one of the best decades of horror ever. And this movie doesn't get the same love as like The Exorcist for some reason. I feel it's about as foundational to it, and came out way before The Exorcist too. So, and look at the hair of Donald Sutherland and Julie Christie. It's just some of the
70s hair, baby.
I mean, it is just, that's all just berries. It's juices and berries, as they say in Coming to America, not 70s movie. But yeah, it's a bunch of creepy European people fucking with some Americans. It never gets old.
I gotta say too, not that he ever got bad, I'm starting to like really fall in love with Donald Sutherland. Like, see more of his older work that I just sadly haven't seen until more recently.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this dude's really fucking good.
Yeah, and he's been around for a long time and working the entire time. Yeah, Donald Sutherland is great, and this movie is probably my favorite of his. This is very similar to Invasions of the Body Snatchers, the way he, like his performance in this too, that paranoid, just like, it worked. So I have no problem when a actor recycles something that really works a couple times, and it worked. I mean, good trailer too. All the trailers in the 70s are just so good, even if they show the whole movie. Good number 9 here. Going to my number 9. Have you seen it?
I've not seen that. No.
Oh,
I feel like either you or somebody's talked about it though, so that's on my radar.
Yeah, it's a good one.
So
okay.
I did see a horror movie with Eli Roth called Don't Look Now, but it's a
little worse. It's a little worse than the one I'm talking about. I'm just gonna. Is that with Kane?
Huh?
Is that the one with Kane? Don't Look Now.
No, that's See No Evil.
Oh, sorry.
Come on.
I mean, it's like along the same.
You're on next week's top 10 WWE films movies list.
The Call.
There you go, featuring David Otunga. There you go. He dated Jennifer Hudson. Did you know that? No.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Jennifer
Hudson. I believe they're exes now, but her baby daddy husband was a pro wrestler.
Good. I'm sorry they didn't work out.
And an alumni of I Love New York, which is the spinoff of I Love Flavor Flav.
I watched all of them. I'm familiar.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh,
he was Punk. He was the big jack guy named Punk, I think.
That's the second time we brought VH1 on this.
That's what I thought. It all kind of came back to VH1.
The symmetry.
Yes.
I miss
early in my stand-up act, I had a good old bit about the VH1 reality shows. And
Bring it back.
Bring it back. I felt like I did it to the point where it stopped making sense. I'd be like, hey guys, remember a few years ago?
Audience, everybody's like, we're too young to have seen that.
Yeah, no, it did sadly get to the point where I'm like, remember Flavor Flav? And I'm like, oh no, I'll become that guy. Never mind.
We don't. Shit.
No. Hey, but speaking of LOLs, my number 9 is The Jerk with Steve Martin coming in my number 9. Yeah, don't know if he can make it today, but man, I'm so glad they made it in the 70s. Steve Martin is a poor black child, and
I can answer right now,
there.
you cannot make this movie today.
yeah, no, we'll go ahead and confirm that pretty solidly here.
But I can watch the trailer without getting a little nervous that I'm on my screen with it.
I swear though, but it's funny, and I think obviously the satire is there, and even if you go to the other scene, the paint can scene is fantastic. Oh, there's a bit of it, I think, right there, and yeah, just I it's been a minute since I've seen it. I actually wonder if I actually would lower it or even make it higher on my list if I saw it in the last couple of years. But yeah, I know it's one that always made me laugh, so had to come somewhere in my list. So I got it here at number 9.
Huge blind spot. Huge blind spot for me. I need to see this movie. I'm not easily.
Oh man, hey, I got a movie you haven't seen. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, no, I need to. This is one I need to see. Like, I don't know really much about it other than that opening monologue, also. So, yeah,
but it's good. Steve Martin 70s, man. Like Steve Martin's another guy. Like, if you haven't seen Steve Martin's first 20 years, and you only know him as I don't know.
Out of towners,
yeah. Please go back, yeah.
I kind of like the Out of Towners. Yeah, both versions. Not that the original is on my list, but no, I like the Out of Towners. It's not bad.
I think I forgot that it was a remake.
yeah. No, the original is I forgot who's in it. I'm not gonna, but it's on my list. I like the movie though, but I need to see this. I'll check it out soon.
Yeah, blind spot for you.
Yep.
What do you got? Number 8?
I have a few blind spots because I try to be a hipster sometimes with my 70s picks. Next pick. This I love the bizarre. I love the weird. I have 2 very, very weird movies on my list. Like very weird to a point where they're 2 of the probably 5 weirdest movies I've seen. This is basically a Scooby-Doo episode on acid, and it's from 1977, Japanese, I believe. Director is Nobuhiko Obayashi, and it is House. And if you haven't seen this movie, I just beg and urge you to see it late at night. And if you don't partake in the substance, fine. But if you do, definitely partake in it before watching this movie. And it's just so insane. It's House. I'm trying to think how else it's spelled. Yeah, this is it. It starts this way. It's very campy. There is subtitles, obviously. All of them are called one of them's called Beautiful. One of them's called Hungry. The music is, if you like Black Parade by My Chemical Romance, that dun 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 dun, the little note melody from that is from this movie. It's a great piano score. You see the weird practical effects. I don't know how they did the effects in this movie. There's a chomping piano at one point. There's colors everywhere. Blood, just horrific things happen.
I've seen that cat thingy. Okay.
Yeah, and the cat. I mean, I don't know how they made this movie. Yeah, it's just crazy. The piano eats people. You will do that throughout the entire movie. I promise you.
I've never seen the trailer, so yeah.
Yeah, it's so insane. And that trailer doesn't do it justice. That trailer makes it look more normal than it is. And it really is like a Scooby-Doo episode on acid. If you don't like really weird movies, don't watch this movie because this is one of the weirdest movies I've seen. But I had such a good time with it. I love the music. I love the characters, the comedy, the horror. It's just so weird. And I wanted to have some international on my list. I think international cinema is super important to watch. And it's, this is just one of the weirdest.
Nice. Yeah, that's another one I definitely have heard, and I've definitely seen that kind of Blu-ray cover with a cat. And
yep.
Coming in my number 8 here. Damn, I should have had 2 beer bottles here so I could claim them because they're going to come out to play Warriors coming in at my number 8. Yeah, man, I love a good. It's basically one crazy night of this gang that gets kind of set up for a murder that they did not commit, and now all the other gangs are coming out after them. And I love the core people. Who's was it James? Not James Remar. Who's the main dude? James Remar. I'm not crazy. Cool. I'm not crazy. James Remar. I just doubted myself, man. But yeah, I mean, great seeing him in a younger role, David Patrick Kelly, and so many here who they come across too. Even the open monologue, of the main guy is great. And yeah, I just this is one that's always been kind of toyed around with being remade too. I've heard back and forth, and there's a fun video game too if you ever want to dab into that on like PS2. Yeah, it really kind of does it justice. Which you never know with movie video games.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, there's some iconic outfits, some iconic gangs here. And yeah, this is one, definitely I think I had to make my list for me. Warriors at number 8.
I love it. Yeah, no, this is a great one. So gritty. Another thing that the 70s did better than any decade. And just like, this movie doesn't need to be remade for a reason. Like, it was pure 70s.
It holds up too in almost every way. Like, as far
that's another great thing about a ton of 70s movies is besides like maybe some film quality at times, and like with Stalker, you can't even tell. No, the movies, the themes, like what they do, it's so dark. It's like darker than anything today. It does hold up because unfortunately, it seems like history keeps repeating itself with a lot of things. So like the issues of like 70s movies, I've said over and over again, like reviews, I'm like, unfortunately, this message is still timely today. Like you can watch like In the Heat of the Night from 1967 and you're like, oh, this movie holds up still. Shit.
Yeah.
Like we haven't learned anything in 60 years. Like, fuck.
Yeah, this still has commentary that we
can
listen
unfortunate.
Today.
It would be nice to look at this and be like, oh, whoa, no.
What a crazy time period.
Yeah,
what fiction?
It makes more sense.
What fiction?
Like, yeah, Warriors is the same. I guess the best movies, because we're so fucked up, made for this. So, yeah.
We got number 7.
All right, number 7. This is by a director who spans many, many decades, and he's a very, very popular director. This movie, to me, I think has the most heart of his movies. It's a really beautiful story as well. It's about it, and the star of it is in the star of another one of the movies on my list. So this guy appears in a couple movies. It's Brewster McCloud. It's from 1970 by Robert Altman. And what this movie's about, it's about a really loner kid living in a fallout shelter in the Astrodome. And he has a dream of flying. And at the beginning of the movie, it starts with Rene Auberjonois. I don't know how to say his name, but Auberjonois. It's like you've seen the name before. He's a French actor, and he plays his guardian angel. And he's like, and he basically helps this kid achieve his dream of using wings to fly. And the whole movie is just a bunch of very eccentric characters interacting, and just it's I think this is Nashville.
What?
Oh no, is this not Nashville? Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure this wasn't. Yeah, so no, I saw Shelley Duvall. I forgot she was in this movie. So yeah, there's Bud Cort. He plays just a very weird kid. It's just about a weird kid in his dreams and everybody getting in the way of his dream, which is not really hurting anybody. And
Bud Cort, God from Dogma.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, Bud Cort. Yeah, and so yeah, and it's just it's just a very strange movie. It encourages kind of you to go and pursue your dreams, and it just has all these weird characters who are just keep getting Bud Cort's way throughout the way. It's really, really funny movie. And yeah, I just love how it kind of all comes together. I haven't seen it in a long time, so I am due a rewatch on it. But the ending is one of my favorite endings of a 70s movie, and it's like surprisingly positive. A lot of 70s movies don't end as positive as this one ends, so appreciate that. But there's his wings and everything, and just all these weird characters trying to stop him from flying across the Astrodome.
I like it. I love the little premise here, and I was also excited that I spelled Brewster right because I wasn't sure. Coming in my number 7 here, Still one of the greatest horror movies of all time. We got Halloween coming in my number 7 here. The first time ever Michael Myers came back home. So much so that we're still making movies about this damn man with the William Shatner mask. But yeah, this is the first time we ever visited here with the OG himself on lens, John Carpenter, Scream Queen, Jamie Lee Curtis here. I love the setup here. That's why I really kind of hated Rob Zombies, because it very much was like, oh, poor kid got picked on and had a shitty dad. I like this premise of just like, no, he's just kind of soulless. Like, this is just evil incarnate. Like, his parents are kind of nice, his sister's nice, but just for whatever reason, just something has clicked, and he's evil. He's evil, no matter what his surroundings are. Good old Donald Pleasance here. Definitely is dead in the second movie, but they brought him back to multiple movies afterwards. Yeah. So dead in that second one. But which they did that even with Will Patton is the reason one. Like, he's dead in that first movie if you watch that first movie back. But they're like, nah, we want the sheriff back. So yeah, again, another slow burn here. You know, if you look at the body count for this one versus the more recent ones, like, you know, it's minimal. You know, there's like only a few dead people in this movie here, but it builds up the stalking here. You know, the big climatic with and with Jamie Lee, who, you know, isn't very strong, you know, as you see in the more recent ones. Like, you know, she's just a normal babysitter who is in the worst situation possible, but, you know, tries to struggle to survive. And yeah, I think it's, again, another one that I think still holds up. I still try to show people. Some of my top 10 of all time as far as horror goes. So it made sense to me with top 10 of 70s. Yeah, no, it's a great movie. And I love that there's not a lot of kills in it, because the kills that do happen are really, really scary and effective because of that. And, you know, it's got all the things that Scream eventually points out that horror movies do. But, you know, when he comes back to life, when he's stabbed with the hanger, when he disappears at the end and just you don't see where he is, the score, everything. Yeah. Everything creepy works. Ending, yeah.
Yeah, everything works about this. I really like the second one too. I think they completely work. You know, it's amazing that John Carpenter didn't direct the second one, because it really did seem like a seamless. A lot of people actually mess that up. Like, if you ever do that in trivia, like, people just assume, I think, that he did that. Yeah, which is the best compliment you can give whoever the guy. I forgot. Yeah. But yeah, no, great choice, and yeah, it's a classic. I still remember the first time I saw it and being terrified. Yeah, I feel like I saw it semi early. Yeah, so. What do you got number 6 now? Almost halfway. Number 6, I'm going through a theme and a couple of my picks of movies that were remade and I think buried the originals. So I do want to bring up the original, Fun with Dick and Jane. That's from 1977. George Segal and Jane Fonda. And basically, this movie is another movie that incredibly holds up with the themes of the movie. It's about like a middle class couple, when middle class did exist in the 70s, who, you know, are trying to keep up with the Joneses. So they keep, you know, getting a nicer car, getting a nicer place, like something that they can just afford. All of a sudden, they both become unemployed and they have to resort to becoming thieves, robbing people. Like, and it's just like they'll do anything to keep their status, even if it's not the reality of their situation anymore. And there's just like a lot of commentary in the movie about not really loving each other. And then it's like kind of a Bonnie and Clyde story as it goes. It gets a little bit dark, but it always kind of maintains a humor about it. The remake with Jim Carrey and Tia Leone just completely missed the entire point of the movie and like the messages it's trying to send. It's not just funny. Yeah, it's got like a ton of heart to it as well. And it's like got a very real message behind it of just getting caught in the loop of trying to stay up with a bunch of people about a bunch of shit you don't really care about, and what you're willing to do to keep that and lose your humanity. And just, I mean, it's really, really funny, and it ends up being really sweet by the end, but still like kind of maintains believability throughout it. And yeah, it's a good movie. Not enough people talk about or see it, and I think it's because the remake sucked.
Actually, no, I was gonna say, to back your point, as somebody that has sadly only seen the remake, like, I can see what you're saying that it's missing, because like that is kind of the problem with it. There's some laughs in it, you know. Jim Carrey's being Jim Carrey at points throughout, or, you know, when they're robbing people, but there is a soullessness to it to a degree, like where you walk away going like, okay, you know what I mean? Because like there really isn't a
You don't learn
major
anything. The
justification.
characters don't
You
change.
sold a way better story than what the movie did, than
no,
what this one does that the other one doesn't.
Yeah, it's and like that's the thing. It's like this and the movie behind me got screwed by their remake so bad. And I love Nicolas Cage. Don't get me wrong, I love him more than anybody. But it's like it sucks that these and that's why when these remakes happen even today, it's like, oh man, it's like gonna bury a great movie. Like because it just does. Because if the remake is good, then you forget about the old one. If the remake's bad, then you're like, oh well, I hated the remake. Why would I watch the original? And it's like, this is a very different from. I think you'd like it.
No, I like how you sold it, and George Siegel's another one, man. Like I knew him for a long time, just as like the dad from Just Shoot Me, and then later on he's the grandpa in Goldberg's R.I.P. recently. Mm-hmm. But now he's another one that's like, if you go back, I'm like, oh shit, he was like a star. Like, I didn't know that.
Ed McMahon's in this movie too. Like,
nice.
Just very
now that I'm interested, just because I've never seen him act.
He plays a pretty big role in the movie.
Continuing on the Chuckle Fest, I'm just gonna say Monty Python and the Holy Grail comes in at my number 6 here. This was something I remember seeing. I think it was in high school. My friend Sherry was like, "You've never seen this," and it was one of those movies where people are. Movies are good when someone's like, okay, we're watching that like tonight, or like the next time you're over, like we're watching it, like we're not doing anything else. This has become a priority now. And I fell in love with it there. I just think that the laughs are there per minute here. I think it was even in what random intro that I have tonight. I think the night is in that intro. So obviously showing that I'm a fan of that. I didn't think about that. Used to have that T-shirt back in the day. Definitely don't fit that shirt anymore. That's besides the point. But just the original Python group here. I like Life of Brian. It's funny, that's always seems to be the argument. But I love Holy Grail. Like that's the one I go to. That's the one I will put on rewatch. And there's no doubt for me to have this here. So I got it in my number 6. We're halfway there, Aaron.
Yeah, man, it's a great movie. I love it. I was raised on these movies. I feel bad for people who weren't, but at least if you can discover it later, it still works. But I think it especially works when it's ingrained from a kid. Like I really think the earlier you're introduced to Monty Python, the more you connect, the more like it's kind of ingrained. And I love this movie. It's so great. Haven't seen it too long.
No, even I could definitely do a rewatch, which I won't mind at all. We're halfway there, Living on a Prayer. What do you got, number 5?
Well, from Holy Grail, we go to my other very weird movie, Alejandro Jodorowsky's The Holy Mountain. This is known to many as the original Midnight Movie. It's a complete cult movie from 1973. The Holy Mountain, and I'm just going to read the description from Letterboxd because once you bring up the trailer, with that in the description, you're not going to know what the fuck you saw, man. This movie is it's the most surreal movie of the 70s for me. The Holy Mountain is a spiritual quest for enlightenment, pitting illusion against truth. The alchemist assembles together a group of people from all walks of life to represent the planets in the solar system. The opulent adept's intention is to put his recruits through strange mystical rites and divest them of their worldly baggage before embarking them on a trip to Lotus Island. There they ascend the holy mountain to displace the immortal gods who secretly rule the universe. Makes sense, right? Now, you're going to see the best, some of the craziest colors. You're going to see a lot of nudity of men and women in this movie. I believe there's even a child at one point who's like butt there is shown. Weird 70s shit. Gotta look past it because the sets, these visuals, there's nothing like it. And you just sit back and let it take you away and try to understand it all what's being said. Probably not going to understand a lot of it. And that's okay. I love this movie. Took me many, many watches to really understand it, but yeah. Yep. Yeah. I stand by all this. This movie caused a lot of controversy when it came out. It was released at Cannes Film Festival, and it got banned pretty quickly. There's some weird shit going on throughout this movie. Check it out, The Holy Mountain, the original Midnight Movie. I just imagined what people thought when they saw this for the first time in 1973.
In the 70s, yeah.
50 years ago. 50th anniversary. What better reason than to see it now? And like, you know, so some of this is like a commentary on like how the world treats its people. Some of it's on hunger, some of it's on greed, some of it's on politics, some of it means nothing, some of it's on religion. Yeah. What does it all mean, Basil? What does it all mean? It's, yeah. That trailer does it justice. It only gets...
All right. Well, now here's my ultra obscure, really makes you think about life and religion.
I was about to say Jaws.
Jaws.
From the Holy Mountain to Jaws. This might be the biggest whiplash
double feature
from history.
there's your double feature. But yeah, Jaws comes in at my number 5. This is definitely something that was thrown early to me. You know, again, the slight slow burn, maybe not totally done on purpose, but hey, fate works out in a funny way here. Schneider, Dreyfuss, all really good roles here. Again, please ignore all sequels, but definitely check out the original here, which works on pretty much every level here. I'm sure we'll get a remake one day, but
probably very soon. Let's be honest.
You think so? You think
it might be by Spielberg might remake it himself. That would be kind of cool. If anybody's gonna do it, if he did it, I'd be pretty excited. Actually, it'd be easy. Yeah. I saw this movie super late, and it was still great. Honestly, I loved how fate worked out for the movie, that they couldn't show that. Not showing the monster is the way to go, in my opinion, almost every time. It's why I love the 2008 Godzilla? Is that when Godzilla? Whatever. I love how they didn't show Godzilla in the movie, and that was obviously an homage or influence from Jaws. All the performances too, Quint especially, I just thought was amazing. Like amazing character. And again, the commentary holds up because I watched this during, I believe, COVID for the first time. It was like right at the beginning of.
You were super late.
Yeah, super late. And like, just because like it was one of those movies, I was like, yeah, I've heard about Jaws. I don't need to see it. Like, I've heard about Jaws. Like, and I watched it. And I was like, this is just like COVID, where they're telling everybody right away when COVID first started that was fine. Like, certain officials were, and I was just like, oh, like Jaws is a very clear allegory for like our government just kind of being like, yeah, it's fine. Go back to how things were. You're fine.
Get back in the water. You're good. You're good.
We can't be gone for whatever boat week or whatever it was that they couldn't be out for. No, great movie. It's a classic. You haven't had a wrong answer yet. I'll be honest.
All right, good.
That's how great the 70s are that I can't even argue with them. My number is it my number 4?
Yeah.
Okay, my number.
No, you're 4.
Okay, my 4 is it's the 1973 Wicker Man. The movie behind me. So much better than the one that is more famous at this point, which is the Nicolas Cage one. It's the performance. By the way, this is Christopher Lee down here, right there. That's Christopher Lee, and he plays Lord Summerisle, who's like the leader of this cult on this island. There's singing in the movie. There's crazy dancing. It is such an influence of Midsommar. It's not even funny. Like when people kept saying The Wicker Man, that's what made me go back and see it, because I saw this after I saw Midsommar, which is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. In this one, yeah, you can't deny the influence of it, the way it ends, the look of it, the island it's on. It's such a scary, just inevitable conclusion that it comes to, how it challenges a person's faith, and when you're faced with your, ultimate demise, how you respond to that, and kind of expose what you really believe. It's got great mystery to it, and it's just another. I think it's a remake a lot of people have come to now, but it was a remake for a while after the Nicolas Cage one that people just discounted because of the Nicolas Cage movie. It's so much better. Really, really scary ending too. Basically the same as Midsommar. Really, Midsommar just saw The Wicker Man, and just like Don't Worry Darling saw Stepford Wives, and literally just made it a little more interesting, not necessarily better. but like a little more complex, you know. So if you've seen Midsommar, you've pretty much seen The Wicker Man, but just with a few different changes. But The Wicker Man's better.
Is there a scene where the guy Christopher Lee goes, "The bees"?
Yeah, there's no bees in this movie. That is the interesting element that's added by Nicolas Cage. And I love Nicolas Cage, but this movie, it's just so great.
Coming in my number 4, some people might be with me, some people might be against me for this because I didn't have the first one. I'm going with the second Rocky. That's the one that always kind of clings to me personally. I just kind of think it's one of those sequels that I think kind of amps everything up a little bit here. I mean, obviously, I think the stakes are a little bit higher. I think he's a slightly better actor in this one here. I think it's shot a little bit better. He's also less creepy from the first one. You don't gotta kiss me, but I'm gonna kiss you. That's not cool, dude. No, but no, I don't know. Like I said, I think the first one is great, and again, kind of like we've made the joke of walking so the other one can run. I think I'm just that much more into Rocky 2. I think it's always just kind of been like that next level for me here, where I think of the Rockies, this might be my favorite actually in general. So Rocky 2 comes in at number 4.
100% agree.
Hey, good to know. Good to know. That's a big debate.
Because I've only watched the first couple Rocky movies. I was supposed to play Tato in a match with the league folded. So I was through the first couple Rocky movies, and then we found out the league was no more. So, I only watched the first 2. I remember messaging a bunch of people after and saying, why did no one tell me Rocky 2 was better than Rocky 1? Because it's way better. And, like, I love the ending of Rocky 1, too. Like, I like that it's not – I do like the ending more of the first, but I like the overall movie of the second more.
That's kind of how I feel. Yeah,
the themes are way better. Sylvester Stallone is 10 times better as an actor.
That's what I mean. I feel like everybody's
more
and has grown. That first one's a real indie, and this one has like, hey, we know what we're doing now.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, no, I love. Yeah, the fight is better too.
That's what I mean. It's shot better. The fight's better. Like it's a more cinematic movie with the fight. Yeah, absolutely.
No, I love it.
It's nice.
All right, number 3. I said there was a movie with blue in the title on my list. It's not Perfect Blue. It's not Blue's the Warmest Color. It's Blue Collar, Paul Schrader's 1978 classic. First of all, Paul Schrader rules. Like, go back and watch any decade of Paul Schrader movies. I just watched The Master Gardener that came out like last week or something. It's about like a neo-Nazi gardener. Yeah. It's the last of his like People Alone in a Room trilogy with Card Counter and First Reformed. This movie's great.
I didn't like Card Counter.
I understand if you didn't, but like it wasn't. I didn't mind it, and the guy's like 90 years old, so like he's still making movies. I'll allow it. Richard Pryor's in this movie. No one talks about it though. It's a great dramatic role of Richard Pryor.
I wasn't expecting him, to be honest with you.
They all play. They all work in a auto mechanic. What is it called? Auto shop? Yeah, they all work in an auto shop. It's about how they're getting screwed over by their union and their management. So another ever timely issue, because workers still get exploited by big companies like this movie's talking about. And they decide to rob the safe at the company office. And it's basically like Office Space, but with mechanics and the performances by Harvey Keitel and Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor can act his goddamn ass off. And then another super underrated actor from the 70s is Yaphet Kotto. And he was in another movie, Bone, that I love. But Yaphet Kotto, he shows up in a bunch of movies like throughout the 70s and 80s. Doesn't get the credit he deserves. Those 3 just really are great at the racial commentary, the social class, just all of the above, and it's very timely. It's very funny. Ed Begley Jr.'s in this movie too, and Paul Schrader knows how to fucking direct so many different types of movies, and this is just, it gets gritty, it gets action, it gets dark. There's some really deep, really scary deaths. One involving that guy trapped in the paint, like super scary, and just gets really dark throughout and twisted, and it's just kind of about how the man will always try to keep you down no matter what and turn you against each other. Great movie.
Damn You the Man. I like it. Wasn't Blue Collar also a TV show?
Probably.
All right, let's see here. We're at number 3 here, and I'm going to Alien. Kind of like Terminator, man. It's always that fun. Like, what do you like better? Do you like Alien or do you like Aliens? Because the first one I think is more horror, slow burn. Well, the second one goes way more kind of into almost just action, nonstop here. But I do have a lot of love for the original one here, Alien, giving us that first performance of Sigourney Weaver as Ripley, as well as everyone else that's on the ship along with her here. Harry Dean Stanton's on the ship, John Hurt. Yeah, just again, it's that first setup here of them exploring, and then something's on the ship, and even the poor kitty gets it at one point. So great. Again, love how the ship looks here. It's the least glorified ship because it's shot kind of darkly here, and it is a lot of mysteriousness going on here. And Alien coming in at my number 3.
And the chest burster scene, just like unforgettable scene.
Iconic. They try to do that now in every movie they have, and
they just keep trying to make the first movie. And it's like, you don't
Pretty
like
much.
stop. Like we got it. We got cute Sigourney Weaver too, and she's just such a cutie in this movie. I had such a crush on her as a kid. I was just like, oh, she seems like the type of girl who I could get. Even though like there's no way I could ever get a Sigourney Weaver. But
it was a hope.
Yeah. Hey, I got even better. I got a unnamed fiance that I'm not going to get in trouble by just revealing. But either way. Alien.
Dude, you can say it. Scarlett Johansson. She's leaving the SNL guy. Yeah.
Hi, ScarJo. Endlessly influential with how it's influenced technology, even in real life to this day. Like it influences things. So yeah, great choice. And not a wrong choice because it's basic. But to answer the question, I'm Alien over Aliens, Terminator 2 over Terminator.
I might go Aliens. That one's hard for me. I definitely choose Terminator 2. Just because I think it's
How can you not
so
choose
grand
Terminator
scope.
2?
Terminator 2 honestly might be my top 10 of all time.
It might be the best movie of all time. I
love T2. And I might go Aliens over Alien, but that one's a harder choice.
Terminator, I agree with that 100%. My number 2, I mentioned musicals on this list, and this director, one of my 4 favorite directors of all time, Brian De Palma. And Brian De Palma never makes the same type of movie because the dude's just crazy. Phantom of the Paradise. People don't talk about this movie.
What is it?
Phantom of the Paradise. It's a play on Phantom of the Opera. And this movie should have the Rocky Horror Picture Show's place in the midnight movie sing-along movie that everybody watches, everybody goes crazy about. It's basically about this singer-songwriter who gets trapped into a contract with an evil record company and wants to break out of it. And the record company basically says, in order to get out of it, you have to die. And then it's his just quest to take over his music, take it back from the evil recording artist or record producer Swan. And just it's so crazy. William Finley puts on the performance of a lifetime here. The music is so good. I've listened to the soundtrack for probably 2 straight years after hearing it. It has like kind of some just different types, some rock, some opera. It really is better than the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It should have the famousness of it. It's so crazy. And it's by the guy who I think the same year did Carrie or something. So these movies could not be more different. I recommend it to everybody. It's crazy. It's so much fun.
It looks like it. Man, the 70s was a weird time.
Dude, drugs are good. That movie was made on a lot of drugs.
I believe it was on the poster for it. Just at the bottom. Drugs are good.
Brian De Palma rules. And it's just like, I mean, I still sing the music to this day. I'll put it on when I'm not sure what to put on. Like, it's my favorite soundtrack of all time.
Nice. Well, speaking of a good soundtrack score, I know I'm trying to segue somehow here. My number 2, again, not crazy, but I can't find me too hard. Star Wars, the OG retro. What? I like Star Wars. That's crazy. Retroactively, A New Hope. But this is the first time we get to kind of see Luke Skywalker in action. We meet the Han Solo who go down in infamy. Darth Vader starts that world building here. It is obviously still going even stronger still to this day. Maybe almost too much in my opinion, but can't deny that original trilogy here had the character, had the story. You set up some of the twists that you see later on here. All the side characters, C-3PO, R2-D2. It's Star Wars.
We know Star Wars. We're familiar.
Have you seen it? Have you seen this little gem?
My brother's for his bar mitzvah was Star Wars.
Hey, Mazel Tov.
Yeah, my favorite Star Wars is Return of the Jedi. So,
you're a Jedi guy. I'm an Empire
Jedi guy. I don't see anything wrong, but I love this movie, man. And I love the garbage disposal scene, especially. I just remember.
Come on, I had this cool little toy set of that, and oh my god, I loved them.
It was so gross and just like, oh god, yeah, this movie's great. I love rewatching this one. Like honestly, my ranking of the original trilogy, which is close to my ranking of them, is 3, 1, 2. I honestly like Empire the least number 3. I know, but these are great movies. Obviously, the lightsaber fight doesn't hold up, but I think that's what makes it great. Is it's like, oh, they're really just dancing like slowly. Like, but I mean, like, do not break these things. We only have one of these. Like
part of to me that charm really works though, because the new ones obviously that are billions of dollars, they're so flashy.
Yeah.
It almost seems more believable to me sometimes when you have this like slower fight, and
you don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to rush.
Yeah, it's not glossy. It's not CGI'd in any way. You know what I mean? I love the practical people in the Katana you see from the other movie. Yeah.
No, it's
all right. Nitty gritty. Number 1 was the best movie of the 70s, Aaron.
I mean, I wanted to be original for the rest of my list. I couldn't be for my number 1. If you know me decently, you should already be typing it up, but you obviously don't. It's Harold and Maude. It's my favorite movie of all time.
Oh yeah, I knew that.
Literally, yeah, like this. I'm very proud that this is the movie of this community, if you want to call it that. When it's brought up, people should think of my name, and I'm fine with that. I only saw this movie in 2020. And my brother recommended it to me. And my brother is not super emotional or anything like that, and not like a big looking at more to life than what's there, with all due respect. And I've always kind of more been the more existential of the two of us, more emotional, more curious, more kind of wondrous one. And this movie is just all about that. Harold is a very depressed teenager who is multiple times in the movie staging fake suicide to try to get attention of his mother, to basically like, I need help. And this is at a time in the 70s where, psychology wasn't looked at the way it is today, especially for men. And he just wanted to talk about his feelings, and his mother thought that was all wrong. And then he meets a 79-year-old woman named Maude, who is more alive than any person he ever met. They end up having a relationship. I don't really care. It doesn't distract me at all. Honestly, it is not the point of why it's in the movie. And she has decided from when she was young and she's also a Holocaust survivor, so she learns to appreciate life. And she's teaching this young suicidal teenager who wanted to end his life, who has everything, has a silver spoon, how to really appreciate life. She had decided when she was really young that at 80 she was going to die. So she's 79. She's living out the end of her life with this person. He believes he can change her mind. She ends up, not changing her mind, but it's really not depressing. And the movie, while really sad, leaves you very, very hopeful. The end of it, the first time you see it, if you're invested, it's going to take your breath away. And the way it ends, the theme it ends on and the note it ends on is so spot on for the entire message of the movie of being yourself, living a life that you want to live, not selfishly, but selflessly, and just learning to appreciate each moment. And Hal Ashby is one of my favorite directors. He unfortunately did too many drugs in the 70s, so by the 80s he was burned out. But his movies of the 70s are all incredible and life-changing movies. I could have picked any of them. This is my favorite movie of all time, though. I think it is something everybody should see. If you're in a bad place, it will help you. If you're not in a bad place, it will help you. It's just an incredible movie. And the fact that my brother recommended it to me, I can't believe, because like he just doesn't always get me. And when a lot of times he'll send me a movie and he'll be like, "This is you," and it almost feels like an insult once I see the movie because it's like very obnoxious or like ruins its plot by like going over the top. I'm like, you don't really get me. But this movie is pretty much me in a movie. And after I saw this movie, it was, it was right around the time of Guardians 2, when Guardians Volume 2 came out, and Cat Stevens has a song in there that also made me sob. If you like Cat Stevens, you will like this movie. If you don't like Cat Stevens, this movie is going to be torture because he is the entire soundtrack of the movie. But this movie made me love Cat Stevens, love Bud Cort, and love Ruth Gordon. I've seen this movie so many times at this point. It will always be my number one movie on a list where it's eligible.
I know, I love it, man, and I didn't know how passionate you were about it. Obviously, I know it's something you've mentioned. It's behind you. You were mad at me when I didn't know Hal Ashby was the director. But no, I love hearing the passion behind it. I love the you sold it. You know what I mean? It's definitely going to be higher now in my watch. It's something I will definitely try to get to very soon as well. Here's a movie I bet you haven't seen. The Godfather. It's my number one. What?
Star Wars, Godfather, and Alien, and Jaws.
Bet y'all never knew this list was coming.
The 70's rules, as I said.
No, I mean, like I said, I'll definitely defend my 10. Maybe the top half is probably different movies everyone has seen. Well, there's a reason why everyone has seen movies like this, including this one, this R-rated masterpiece. So much so that I remember it was very much a rule. Like, if there's nudity in a movie, I can't watch it. But even this one, my mom was like, "No, we got to watch Godfather." Just when they go to Italy, maybe turn your eyes for a quick second. No, I love the story of Michael. He's a good dude, pretty much, and doesn't really want this life, but he's kind of forced into this life here. Again, in one of my other intros, you'll see the door closing, iconic shot here. What happens to James Caan, Marlon Brando. I actually really recently loved the TV series about them trying to make this movie. It was actually pretty good too over at Paramount. And there's a reason here. Godfather 2 is right on the same level for me here. It's always hard to choose between the two. That could have been my number 2 or even, but I don't know, there's something about the first one here. I think just because of the Michael character and what he has to go through, that kind of maybe puts this one over for me when I've gotten ahead, have to choose between them. So leave the gun, take the cannoli. Godfather is my number 1. There's that door.
Yep. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I'm Godfather 1 over Godfather 2 as well. The restaurant scene, my favorite scene.
Yeah, there's just a couple things where I'm like, it's by a hair, yeah.
But yeah, and but I really do think Francis Ford Coppola, that run he went on in those 3 or 4 years, is just insanely mind blowing to me. How he was able to make that, The Conversation, another one of my favorite movies. Godfather is a great number 1.
John Frizzell being in all of them.
I saw The Godfather. I saw The Godfather pretty late as well, and it still held up. So I love it. Great list. We could do 10 more at any point too, if you want to do another 10.
I'm sure I have 10 more, hopefully.
Oh yeah, you do.
Let's hear your list one more time, Aaron.
Yeah. So number 10, I got Stalker. Number 9, Don't Look Now. 8, House. 7, Brewster McCloud. 7, Fun with Dick and Jane. 5, The Holy Mountain. 4, The Wicker Man. 3, Blue Collar. 2, Phantom of the Paradise. And number 1, Harold and Maude.
Very nice. And I was just about to pull up my letterbox to show my 10. I did what I always did, and I forgot to say my honorable mentions. I do this almost every fucking episode lately. So Logan's Run, Saturday Night Fever, Superman, Apocalypse Now, and Mad Max were my honorables, right outside my 10 here. So 5 really good movies. Logan's Run, check that one out.
I haven't seen it.
That one. What's that?
I have not seen it.
See, good. I got 2 you haven't seen. It's a weird one, man, but it's great. It's the dude from Austin Powers, Michael York.
Yep, cool.
Nice dystopian where like I think they get you at a certain age, but they don't know that until later. The Island with Ewan McGregor is kind of similar.
I like The Island. Great.
And I feel like they definitely borrowed from Logan's Run, kind of like we were mentioning with other movies. So, but my 10, Stepford Wives at number 10, The Jerk at number 9, The Warriors at number 8, Halloween at 7, Monty Python and the Holy Grail at number 6, Jaws at number 5, Rocky 2 at number 4, number 3, Alien, number 2, Star Wars, number 1, The Godfather for the 70s for me.
You won. You
Yay! I won the poll.
That's
Who has a better
That's a
list?
great list. I had a great time talking about these with you, Jordan. Thank
No,
you.
absolutely. And I like I said, I when you said it, I was a little worried for me, but I was always excited to hear what you had to say because I knew you'd have several things I haven't seen. Actually, wait, did you have anything I've seen? You have 10 movies. I have 10 movies on my list now.
That makes me happy. Honestly.
So yeah, and then you did a really good job too on selling them.
Thanks, man.
Plugs, parting words.
Aaron the Dog MMA. If you're not subscribed at this point, you're never going to be. Otherwise, no. Appreciate you having me on. ASAT. I'll be there when I can be. Been moving, so I've missed being there later. But yeah, I'll get back to it.
I'm subscribed to the channel.
I know you are. I guilted you once on once live. I was like, subscribe now. You're like, okay. But yeah,
I'll subscribe. I mean,
I'm nothing if not shameless. But yeah, that's it. Appreciate it.
I loved your episode on the ABC5 full card betting breakdown.
Oh, that was my most recent one. Thank you.
Yeah, I loved it.
Thank you so much. I had a lot of energy that day. Thank you.
And as for here, hey, you're on the channel. So if you haven't, like and subscribe it. Tell a friend. Tell an enemy.
Hi, Chris.
You like wrestling. And Chris is. Pierce Wrestling is where you'll find a lot of wrestling content as well. It's like MMA, but more staged. Not that much more staged, just a little bit more.
Yeah,
staged.
they're pretty much both as staged as each other at this point.
Big shout out to Aaron. Thank you very much for being here. We'll definitely have you again if you're down to be here again. And maybe I'll come back too.